Presented by Sega Enterprises and Fuji Television.
We recently took a look at F1 Challenge on the Saturn, which is an officially licensed F1 title that was organised through the Formula 1 Constructors Association and not the FIA, which meant it had a limited amount of tracks, drivers and teams to choose from. The same arrangement was also organised by Sega and the FOCA for 1994's Formula 1 World Championship Beyond the Limit. However, this Mega CD title offers players the full range of teams, circuits and drivers bar Ayrton Senna, which makes F1 Challenge's paltry offerings a year later even more bizarre. Being an earlier title, Beyond the Limit focuses on the 1993 F1 Championship season, and this is a wonderfully Sega appropriate season to focus on, as Donington Park and the Williams team were sponsored by Sega at the time, and you can see their branding on the track billboards and car's livery respectively. Also putting F1 Challenge to shame is the extensive season mode, which allows players to race through the entire 16-race season. You even have to worry about changes in weather, which will require pit stops in order to change your tyres for the various conditions. In addition to the season mode is a 1993 mode, which is one of the most novel inclusions I've ever seen in an F1 game. This is a series of short challenges based on real scenarios from the 1993 season, complete with introductory FMV from TV coverage of that era that gives context to the various challenges. This is seriously impressive stuff that is above and beyond the scope of any F1 game I can think of from this era. And finally we have the free run mode, which allows you to practice on any circuit with any car and driver. You can tweak the amount of laps and also the weather as well, making for one of the most extensive practice modes I've seen in a retro F1 game. So what about the handling? Well, despite the breadth of simulation options we're presented with, Beyond the Limit has a very approachable and arcadey handling model. The car grips like a beast even if you go off track. There is sadly no collision program for any of the roadside objects apart from barricades. This also has the negative effect of making the game even easier because you can cut corners to your heart's content and make impossible gains on the pack that you'd be penalised for in reality. Beyond the Limit is also pulling out all the stops in regards to the Mega CD's enhanced capabilities. We have sprite scaling, we have rotation effects, we have FMV and we have Red Book audio. We even have some pretty convincing changes in elevation, which is impressive considering rotation effects like these normally require the tracks to be perfectly flat. The presentation in general is nothing short of excellent, with the menus and dialogue sequences feeling very much like era-appropriate TV coverage. If you have any nostalgia for 90s F1, then Beyond the Limit has captured the vibe perfectly. Even the FMV is of generally high quality, and it runs in full screen at a good frame rate. Unfortunately, the in-game frame rate does leave a lot to be desired. Don't get me wrong, Beyond the Limit is a playable game, but the choppy frame rate does spoil the overall presentation. The draw distance is also pretty low, with roadside objects and other cars popping in and out of existence very abruptly. I almost think this has been done on purpose in order for the frame rate to not drop even lower, but once again it does kind of spoil the presentation somewhat. But despite these quibbles, I think Formula 1 World Championship Beyond the Limit is one of the best F1 games of the era, with its extensive season and mission modes, the entire selection of circuits, cars and drivers, and a fantastic TV-like presentation. Mega CD owners will absolutely want this one in their collection, as it's a great showcase piece for what the system can do in the right hands.